Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Former Prime Minister Menace says he can unite F&Ms. He calls on F&Ms to respect each other. A new trial date set for Michelle Reckley and others. And police say they've seen a missing teen on CCTV. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Chester Robards is off today. He'll be with us later in the week. Also this morning, we are talking about an amazing new wearable patch to treat premature ejaculation. Dr. Gregory Pinto will be here to talk about that. And later, it's part two of the Harborside Chats with Governor John Roll from the Central Bank. Continue the discussion with regulators in the country. Also in business, we are going to be talking about another central bank initiative as digitization continues. I'll explain what that's all about. That's all ahead on a busy Wednesday, and plus we're on budget watch as the presentation is set for 10 o'clock this morning. That's all ahead, but first it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight days ahead of the F&M convention, former Prime Minister Dr. Menace says he can unite the fractured party, which has been challenged by infighting in recent months. While on his Edna's program, Menace was asked if he believes he can be a unifying force within the F&M. Menace said the most important element is respect. He said, quote, "Not only do I believe, but I know I can do it. Now, yes, in any entity, there are challenges and there are problems. You have dislikes, you have animosity, and whatever else. If you don't like me, that's not going to change overnight. If I don't like you, that can't change overnight. But what can change overnight is respect, and respect should be phase one." In other news, Long Island MP Adrian Gibson asked his cousin Rashay Gibson to close out the accounts for elite maintenance after he accused his then-fiancée Alexandria Mackey of stealing. It's coming out in Supreme Court testimony yesterday. Gibson faces charges of money laundering, bribery, and failure to declare his interests in contracts awarded by the Water and Sewage Corporation. Rashay Gibson, who previously was charged along with the MP and four others continued her testimony in the ongoing trial. According to her, sometime in 2017, Mackey, who is a lawyer, came to her apartment on Bellet Road and asked her to sign documents pertaining to Elite Maintenance. The company was awarded contracts by the Water and Sewage Corporation, while Adrian Gibson served as its executive chairman. Roche Gibson alleged that sometime in 2021, the MP told her to close the bank account after he accused Mackey of stealing. You can read more on this in today's Nassau Guardian. The magistrate assigned to hear the corruption case of Michelle Reckley, the former Urban Renewal Program Director, has set a new date, a 2025 trial date, after locating a file that he previously said was missing. Senior Magistrate Shaka Serville adjourned the matter last month after saying that case file was missing and could not be located. On Monday, Serville revealed that he later met the file on his desk. He is expected to give a ruling on an application by Mario Ducil KC aimed at stopping the trial in June. The trial is set for January 6, 2025. Reckley is accused of defrauding the government of more than $1 million through the Urban Renewal Program. Police Commissioner Clayton Fernandez says that Devin Isaacs, the 16-year-old boy who went missing 2 weeks ago, has been spotted on CCTV. Fernandez says police are still searching for the teen. Isaacs was last seen on the night of May 15th in his Carmichael Road home. His mother said that when she woke early Thursday, he was nowhere to be found. Fernandez telling the media yesterday that they have officers on the ground doing a number of inquiries and are still appealing to members of the public who may have information as to where Isaacs might be at this time to reach out to the police. He said, quote, "We also have a number of family meetings even through the weekend, keeping the family members up to date as to where we are with the investigation and if any information they have to add with respect to trying to find exactly where he's at." Fernandez says the footage showed that Isaacs was alive and on New Providence. And he said that based on the footage, he was well, and the individual whom he was communicating with, they've seen that individual as well. Commissioner Fernandez also saying that 4 people who were caught with high-powered guns over the weekend and arrested are also believed to be responsible for shooting up the home of a prison officer. The commissioner says these folks were found in a vehicle with 2 high-powered rifles, and when they took one of the individuals home, they were able to find a third firearm, a loaded pistol with a number of rounds. The 4 men, ages 21, 28, 27, and 24, were arrested on Saturday. Officers from Operation Ceasefire, acting on information, proceeded to a home on Fire Trail Road and intercepted a burgundy Nissan Cube with 4 men inside. The officers searched the car and found 2 high-powered weapons, ammunition, and ski masks. Police say the Cube was reported stolen earlier this month and used in several armed robberies. Overseas, South Africans voting today at schools, community centers, and in large white tents set up in open fields in an election seen as their country's most important in 30 years. It could put the young democracy in unknown territory. At stake is the 3-decade dominance of the ANC, the African National Congress Party, which led South Africa out of apartheid's brutal white minority rule in 1994. It is now the target of a new generation of discontent in a country of 62 million people, half of whom are estimated to be living in poverty. After casting his vote, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says he had no doubt that his ANC would win with a majority and remain in government. Africa's most advanced economy has some of the world's deepest socioeconomic problems, including one of the worst unemployment rates at 32%. The lingering inequality with poverty and joblessness disproportionately affecting the black majority threatens to unseat the party that promised to end it by bringing down apartheid under the slogan of a better life for all. And Gary Conille, Haiti's new prime minister, saying today that he was very honored to be chosen for the post in his first statement since the Transitional Council selected him to lead the troubled Caribbean country under siege by gangs. Conille thanking the civil society groups, political parties, and members of the Haitian diaspora who proposed him as a candidate. He said on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, in Haitian Creole, quote, "Together we will work for a better tomorrow for all the children of our nation." Conil submitted his resignation Tuesday as UNICEF's regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean, a post he held since January 2023. He previously served as Prime Minister of Haiti from October 2011 to May 2012 under then-President Michel Martelly. Conil studied medicine and public health and helped develop healthcare in impoverished communities like Haiti, where he helped coordinate reconstruction efforts after the devastating 2010 earthquake. He also served as a UN development specialist before becoming a regional director with UNICEF. In sports, continuing what has been another strong season for him so far, Stephen Gardner produced another fast time Tuesday, just 0.3 of a second off the world lead. Bahamian Olympic and former world champion running a season's best time of 44.39 seconds to win the men's 400 meters at the 63rd Ostrava Golden Spike Meet, a World Athletic Continental Tour Gold event in the Czech Republic. Belgian World Indoor champion Alexander Doom finished second in a personal best time of 44.44 seconds. Running out of lane 5, Gardner got out fast and paced himself around the track for the impressive time. Read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And with 2 more hits on Monday, including his 8th home run of the season, Bahamian professional baseball player Jazrato Jazz Chisholm Jr. is now leading the Miami Marlins in hitting and just might be their best position player. Chisholm has raised his batting average by nearly 50 points in the last month. He is top 3 in nearly every offensive statistical category for the Marlins and has managed to stay injury-free so far this season, a knock on the early part of his career. In Monday's 2-1 loss to the San Diego Padres, Chisholm shone with a double and a home run in 4 at-bats. It was his 15th multi-hit game of the season and extended a season-long 6-game hitting streak. He now has 61 career home runs, the most home runs for the Marlins since 2017 and the most by any Bahamian in MLB history. From the NBA, the Minnesota Wolves getting over the Dallas Mavericks, avoiding a sweep, beating them 104-100. They head back to Minnesota now to see if they can make things even more interesting against Dallas in the Western Conference Finals. And the Florida Rangers beating, the Florida Panthers beating the New York Rangers 3-2 in overtime in Game 4 of their Eastern Conference Finals in the NHL. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. First look at weather brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Here's what's happening. We've got streaming tropical moisture from the Caribbean Sea. That continues to produce showers and thunderstorms over the southeast and parts of the central Bahamas. Meanwhile, troughing near the extreme northwestern islands will support shower activity across northern islands this morning. A heat advisory remains in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas, that's Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini, with heat indices climbing into the upper 90s and low triple digits for the remainder of the area. UV indices in the northwest and central Bahamas are expected to be very high to extreme, and everybody's being advised to remain hydrated, limit outdoor exposure, and wear protective clothing or sunscreen during the peak sunshine hours today. Residents in the southeast Bahamas should also exercise caution, as flooding is likely during heavy rainfall. episodes. For today, for the northwest and central Bahamas, look for partly sunny to occasionally cloudy and hot conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and warm at night with a few isolated showers or thunderstorms. Some showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms expected. Winds light and variable at 10 knots or less, seas 1 to 3 feet. For the southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy, hot, and humid with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, but gusty at times, seas 2 to 4 feet. Temperature-wise, today we're looking at highs getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. Your first look at weather brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Easy Car Sales' lot is full of new electric vehicles waiting for you to test drive. Stylish, powerful, full of the latest tech features. EVs are a great investment in your future, free from expensive gas and maintenance. Drop into Easy Car Sales on Gladstone Road or visit easy242.com to find your EV and dump the pump today. It's time for break. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
The signs are clear. It's time to pay less for your current mortgage by switching to Scotiabank. Enjoy lower interest rates and no payments up to 2 months when you switch to Scotiabank today. Plus, we'll even pay your switch costs. It's that easy. Ready to switch to Scotiabank? Call us today at 242-356-1697 or visit bs.scotiabank.com to switch your mortgage to become mortgage-free faster.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Join us on a day of giving and hope. The Guardian Media Group and Sister Cancer Support Group are teaming up for a special $1 Day Drive. Come down to the Nassau Guardian on May 31st from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Your contributions will make a huge difference. Every dollar counts in the fight against cancer. And together, we can help support those in need. Be a part of something bigger. Be the change. Donate $1 and change a life.
Here in the Bahamas, we love our food. From savory comforters to refreshing coconut water, our cuisine reflects our vibrant culture and abundant natural resources. But as our population grows, ensuring food sustainability is more critical than ever. By supporting local farmers and fishers, let's honor our traditions, protect our environment, and ensure that the flavors of our Bahamas endure for future generations.
Food security is in our hands.
Here's to the go-getters, the early risers, and the late-night dreamers. You, the visionaries, painting futures in your mind, in your studio, your office, your sacred space. Here's to the adventurers, explorers of every realm. To you, the innovators, turning the cogs of progress. In a world where connection is a lifeline, a pathway to possibilities. Alive is the perfect connection for everyone, every lifestyle, every day.
Visit BeAlive.com today.
F&M's,
Bahamians, the Free National Movement will hold its 2024 convention Saturday, June 1st, under the theme Forward Stronger at the Bahamar Resort. Beginning at 8 p.m., an informative and inspirational evening session will be held, where party leadership and other dynamic speakers will address the Bahamian people on the FNM platform and matters of national importance. Free National Movement 2024 Convention, Saturday, June 1st. You don't want to miss it.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up.
We are back with Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC, 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Chester Robards is off today. He's going to be with us later in the week. Coming up this morning, we're going to talk with Dr. Gregory Pinto, urologist Dr. Pinto, about some exciting developments, a wearable patch to treat premature ejaculation and other new developments. We'll get into that in our 8 o'clock hour. Then in our 9 o'clock hour, it's part 2 of the Central Bank Harborside Chats with Governor John Roll, continuing the discussion with the regulators in the country. A lot of interesting things said yesterday. We conclude that today. And also in our 9 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about another central bank initiative, the digitalization that continues and addressing where things stand with checks. You know, there's a lot of pushback to the central bank's plan to eliminate checks, and they're going to talk about that and other options as well. A lot to get to this morning, but let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, quite a few interesting stories in the papers today. The big headline in the Nassau Guardian Minute says he can unite FNMs. Our Rachel Scott writing about this. Just days ahead now, the countdown is on to the FNM convention. Former Prime Minister Dr. Minnis says that he can unite the fractured party, which has been challenged by infighting in recent months. While on ZNS's immediate response yesterday, Minnis was asked if he believes he can be a unifying force with the FNM and within the party. Minnis says that the most important element is respect, though. He said, quote, "Not only do I believe, but I know I can do it." Now, yes, in any entity there are challenges and there are problems. You have dislikes, you have animosity, and whatever else. If you don't like me, that's not going to change overnight. If I don't like you, that can't change overnight. But what can change overnight is respect, and respect should be phase one. So I would encourage the whole FNM body to start by respecting each other. You are allowed to have a difference of opinion. That's the beauty of democracy. That's the foundation of the FNM, freedom of speech, openness, freedom of movement, etc. So start with respect. He went on to say, Brave Davis is my prime minister. He's the prime minister of the Bahamas. I did not vote for him. Everybody knows I did not vote for him, but the people chose him. The one thing I will always do is respect him. He's my prime minister, and I respect him as prime minister. If people say negative things about him, I will defend him. If I'm traveling and somebody talks about my prime minister, hell no. That's my prime minister. I didn't vote for him. But that's my prime minister, and I respect the prime minister. That is all we have to do. Let's go back to basics. Respect each other, and our respect, and out of respect, love comes. Now, Menace and Michael Pintar, the current F&M leader, are seeking leadership of the party. That race is on Saturday and will be the last before the general election. Pintar took the helm in a special convention in November 2021, 2 months after the F&M, led by Menace, suffered a staggering loss at the polls in the September 2021 general election. Menace did not seek the leadership in that convention. However, he said again yesterday that he should be given a chance to complete the work he began in 2017 when he became prime minister, arguing that his plans were derailed by 2 devastating hurricanes and the COVID pandemic. While Menace had clearly fallen out of favor with the Bahamian public by the time of the 2021 election, he claimed yesterday that he has learned from his mistakes. He said, quote, I would have garnered a lot of experience as prime minister, and sometimes losing is good for you, because when you lose, you get to now look at, observe, and analyze things that you would have never seen. And therefore, the mistakes that you were making at the time, you have carried those mistakes even further, but now because you can look at the global picture, you realize that this is what we need to do different. Those projects we have to complete, and prime ministers have lost hair before and subsequently come back. I now have been in the chair. I can go in the chair tomorrow and start again advancing and completing. And that is why I am a staunch believer of 2-term limits. I feel that if you cannot complete in 2 terms, you're not going to complete at all. And at the end of the 2nd term, you should move out and become a statesman or whatever. Okay, that's going to be hard for me to finish reading this. Anyway, let's hear what you have to say about it, folks, because if you really did feel that way, Mr. Menace, you should have put that in place. You had the time. You called an early election. You could have made that. That's what you promised us. You promised the people that. They were expecting you to do it. Term limits and set election dates, and you didn't do any of it. Yet you called an early election. If you really believed it, you would have done it. Then, no? 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free. 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. So are we saying that losing, you realize you should have done the things you promised to do, but it took losing to do that? Maybe you realize you can't make promises on Slack. Well, everybody needs to realize that at some point. Yes, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Yeah, we'll get to that story in a second. So yeah, this is interesting stuff that's being said. I don't know how I see some of you really excited, very excited this week. Some people, including on this station, are just feel like they're about to explode with excitement. Where is it going to get you? What's it going to do? More empty promises from people who, when they get where they want to go, just do whatever the heck they want to do, and tell you that these promises we made you were not a priority promise. Next time. Yeah? Aye. It's exhausting. But if you want to talk about it, give us a call. In other news, all right, so this is, we said this last week, if you remember. We said, well, with all the CCTV around, there must be, some of these missing people, there must be footage. They claim the CCTV is working, right? There must be footage of these folks and where they went and up to a certain point at least, right? Well, now the police are saying they do have some CCTV footage of that missing teen who's been missing now for 2 weeks. Our Travis Cartwright Carroll writing about it. Police Commissioner Clayton Fernandez says yesterday that Devin Isaacs, a 16-year-old boy who went missing 2 weeks ago, was spotted on CCTV. Fernandez says police are still searching for him, though. Isaacs was last seen on the night of May 15th in his Carmichael Road home. His mother said that when she woke early Thursday morning, he was nowhere to be found. Fernandez says, quote, "We have officers on the ground doing a number of inquiries, and we are right now still appealing to members of the public who may have any information as to where he may be to really please reach out to us so that we can ensure that he reaches home safely to his family." We also have a number of family meetings, even through the weekend, keeping the family members up to date as to where we are with the investigation and if any information they have to add with respect to trying to find exactly where he's at. We have received a number of video footage, CCTV, that is assisting us with the investigation. Fernandez says that the footage showed that Isaacs was alive and well on New Providence, and he said, quote, "Based on the footage that we reviewed, he was well, and the individual whom he was communicating with, we have seen him as well." Now, Isaac's mother, Tashana Thompson, last week pleaded for his safe return. She said, quote, "Just release him. Just release him, because it's not just me who's worried. It's my family, my close friends, my 7-year-old, my 17-year-old are worried. Just release him." Just a very bizarre situation there, and we hope this gets resolved very soon. All right, so that's happening. But there's also this unbelievable story in the Tribune this morning. Officer on the run despite monitor. Challenges electronically monitoring people on bail continue after the Davis administration selected a new company to perform the service, with authorities now searching for an ex-police officer they believe cut off his monitoring device. Okay, well, that is a very interesting lead there. I mean, there was going to be those challenges if he cut off his device. It's like, okay. Anyway, let's read. The search for former Constable Shando King, who's 23 years old, comes more than 2 weeks after police in Grand Bahama found the dead body of a man who the new monitoring company, Migrafil Security Group, was also monitoring. What? Why are they focusing? Anyway, okay. Odd, very odd. Anyway, King was charged with 4 counts of attempted murder in February, 4 counts of possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life, 2 counts of possession of an unlicensed firearm, and 3 counts of possession of ammunition. On Monday, police issued a wanted poster for him, citing breach of bail conditions. Some officers believe he has left the country. The Tribune understands officials lost track of him over the weekend and have not recovered his monitoring device. And then they go into talking about the company again. The government broke ties with Metro Security Limited, the previous electronic monitoring company, after police force leaders reportedly pushed for a change. Police Commissioner Clayton Fernandez has said some people easily removed their bracelets with just a paperclip. Consultant to the Ministry of National Security, Carlos Reed, was among those who championed the change from Metro Security Limited to the previous service provider Migrafil Security Group. Yesterday, he said that despite continuing issues, the services of the new security company are an upgrade over the old company. Okay, and the rest of it is about the companies there. But hey, let's focus on the fact that that this person is missing, has possibly skipped bail, and that's terrifying, those charges there, and that he's a former police officer. Wow. Scary stuff there. Let's hear from you. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free, 242-300-5720. Got a lot of your text messages. This text here: can you explain to me how the missing teenager could be seen on CCTV but no location was linked to the video? Well, he might not be there anymore. I mean, they saw where he saw him somewhere. Maybe they went there and he's not there. So that's a possibility. This person says here, I'm not sure of the... What is this? Oh, boy. I suspect, I'm not sure of the topic, the FNM, I suspect the FNM will be discussed. I would just like to ask those members with who are potential leaders, to chew, boy. Okay, they're confused. FTX people in the U.S. are being jailed for trying to influence their politics. I wonder which of them is pushing CFR to avoid such issues, or are the people just deciding on a different manager who does nothing different? Reform is not in the PLP's dictionary, so I need not even consider such action there. It's a text. I don't know what you're saying exactly, but okay. My good cousin Minnis is comical, is a text. He believes in 2 terms, but supports Ingram for 4 terms. When did he say that? Ingram was going for 4th term. Wow, unbelievable. Dwight, your bias towards Minnis is amazing. Every Caribbean country had called an early election because of the pandemic, seeking a new mandate. Minnis did well under extreme circumstances. No other PM had to deal with it. You believe you could have done better? Okay. Yeah. Minnis was rude, nasty, arrogant, and cold. You then what's it saying? You are not wanted, Minnis. You and Brave Davis. That's a text. Same old Minnis, all about me. A leopard never changes its spots. Hell no to Minnis. The FNM will lose again in a landslide with Minnis as a leader. As an FNM supporter, I will stay home again. Okay. And this text here, I never suffer from the empty promises syndrome simply because I don't waste my time voting for these clowns. Yeah, but you're stuck at the circus, though. So, I mean, you're just happy with other people deciding who will be the head clown? Okay. Enjoy. Just loose the donkey and tie up the whole Bahamas. Minnis was probably the worst PM ever, not because of the failed promises, because they all do that. But he made tragedies in our country even worse, ruling like a power-crazed emperor. He also cut his term short by almost a year. So all this talk is just talk. He doesn't need to be anywhere near the seat of power ever again. And callers will get to you in a second. This person says, hey, what do they mean they lost track of him? When is the last time he logged in at the station? When was the device? Well, they said in the report over the weekend was the last time. When was the last time he logged in the station? When was the device? They said this in the story. When did the security company notify the police that the signal was lost? They put out did you hear the story? They put out a wanted poster for him on Monday after they lost track of him over the weekend. They said, I read it all. Anyway, let's go to this call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Hi.
Did you read an old thing on Minnis?
No, apparently he said that yesterday.
Oh, okay. So he's becoming repetitious.
Well, they all are. Yeah, you admit that. They're all stuck on repeat.
Yeah, but, this guy said he respects your prime minister, respect everything else, but then remember the first thing what Minnis did when he went away? He went around to the world and told them that they're all corrupt. And he's surprised that the amount of money, the $500 million, probably was just a drop of the bucket.
Well, that is the truth. Where's the lie? That was one of the very truthful things he said. The place is very corrupt. It's worse than he thinks. It's worse than we all know.
Then the question then becomes, what did he do about it?
Well,
I mean, he mastered it. Now, he says he believes in 2 terms, but he's going to go to the public and tell them to give Brave the end Brave term 1. He just said, hey, you can't finish in 1 term. This sounds like a statement for the PLP, which is somewhat ironic that if you listen to Shivago Lang's show and other shows yesterday, today Minnis is making the news using the same talking points that the PLP used. I don't know whether they have adopted his talking points or he have adopted theirs. And so you have to say he believes in 2 terms. He never finished. He have unfinished things that he never told us what it is unfinished. I mean, we have a list, don't we? I mean, I think you mentioned a few of them. Term limits, finance reform, immigration reform, land reform, tax reform,
local government for New Providence.
Local government for things, freedom of information, transparency, accountability, integrity, anti-corruption. He's going to fix housing, the economic crisis. He was going to do the national security crisis, the immigration crisis. I mean, I don't know what list. If he did nothing during the first term, then he'd need 2 more terms to finish it now.
No, he didn't do nothing. That's fair.
Well, the most important thing, though, right? Let's talk about the most important thing we should do, because the rest of the party is doing it right now. There's a principle of governance where you build people, they'll build schools. You build people, they'll build roads. You build people, they'll build businesses. You build people, they'll build houses. Something that has not been done. I think if you're going to come for prime minister now in the 21st century where we are, we have learned we have high expectation for Minnis. The most powerful thing that Minnis has given us is that he said that the F&M didn't do it. He did. If you listen to his former ministers and people around him, I watched last night where even a former minister going back says that it was I. Minnis said himself that he doesn't know the F&M position and policies. He doesn't know Pentad own. He knows his own. He says he's going to bring a party together. Can you bring them more together than what has been expressed? Have you seen what is happening in the F&M, where people that I really thought had left the Bahamas has become back into the fold? I think what happens now, the position that Minnis is taking, and the PLP fanatic trolls and others, the talking points. I mean, like I said, I've never seen in my 20-plus years of being back home a government party campaign for an opposition leader the way they're doing. Minnis didn't have to spend a dime. If the PLP could vote for Minnis right now, he would win double the votes. But here's Minnis' argument. Minnis' argument, and I think if the PLP supports Minnis the way they claim they do, they need to go and bring Terry Christie back, because nobody learned like Terry Christie from his 2 losses. Minnis did not finish 1 term. He says he believes in 2 terms. That means Minnis planning to be on for another 2 terms, because to have 2 terms, he'd have to do 1 term plus, right? Minnis is simply doing what he does best, linguistic contortionism. Remember NOP, NPO, Fisher on the Moon, all those different things? Minnis is good at talking a lot, and then since you say he did nothing, doing little. I think our country
I said he did not do nothing. Did not do nothing.
He did little. Okay? Well. But with Dwight, when you hide doing what is say just the bare minimum, just being there, if you can make an argument concerning Minnis, forget, I love it.
We got to hurry up. Okay,
I just hope you say this. Minnis had this opportunity, Dwight. Our country is now in crisis. We have climbed out of the hole to the edge, but we have not had growth that have something of inclusivity. Why? Because we have not embraced the tools that is necessary to the 21st. I said this once before. We are not, the other countries are not living in the future. We're living in the past. We need transformative leadership who can bring not just a political party together, but our country together, because we can't just run this race. We must accelerate.
Okay.
Because the rest of the world has continued. We're just tying our laces. But Minnis' time is gone. And I think we should not even hear any more news from him except on Monday morning to say the goal has been reset. The Bahamas moving forward. The past is behind us. And that includes Minnis. Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot. Okay. Well, again, I wouldn't say they did nothing. It was unfortunate, Dorian, and the pandemic, of course. But for the first few years, despite his attitude towards media, they were accomplishing a few things. Yeah, I mean, the plastics ban and some of the environmental legislation they had pushed through in the dump. Remember the dump fires? That came to an end. So there were a few things. If they'd stuck to what they had promised, there could have been a great administration. But all kinds of other things became distractions. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Thank you very much for saving me, because I was running out of oxygen down here. Just be honest.
Well.
But listen, Bahamian people really, really, really need to get with it and come forward to the times. 51 years, they still call it the talk and foolishness, like the caller before, the texter before Seattle, about Minnis was doing what other world leaders did at the time, and had to call it a short election that he did well. Well, he must see this weird, because Minnis called a short election because he was trying to get rid with his arrogance, trying to get rid of Halton Moutry, who putting pressure on him in the House of Assembly to do it the correct way and wanted to have Parliament in the square. That's why when it's called the election, he was trying to get rid of Harley Moultrie. So tell them, God, Bahamas, please get rid of it. Stop guessing and stop these colors. We losing our country, like Finland say. Thanks, Dwight, for taking my call.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's get back to your text messages. This person says here, losing track of the officer there doesn't mean over the weekend. Is not the same as the security company notified us on Friday or Wednesday or up to Saturday. We couldn't find him at his mother's house. He didn't go to work, etc. It could be, but language is often used to mask the facts. Okay. I mean, I hear you. Seems pretty clear. This person says here, honestly, what did Menace do for the bombers? It just went through that, and I'm sure there's more. But style might have been a challenge for a lot of folks. Maybe. Ironically, for C. Allen, never in the history has a former PLP like him ever campaigned for a leader in the F&M. What? He has a right, but what in the world was he promised by Pintard? Oh, Lord, they're talking about C. Allen. Okay, I know it ain't just me who noticed this. That's a text. You don't have to call back C. Allen, but hey, Dwight, don't forget Ragged Island. I guess what you're saying, that's one of Menace's successes? There were 3 natural disasters, and then there were the disasters of McAlpine, insurgents, and sticky-fingered ministers, and an openly hostile speaker. Right. Menace has the same attitude as Donald Trump. I've listened to his talk and listened to Donald Trump. They talk the same way. Yikes. Well, okay, here we go. Here's the daily attack. Dwight text. Dwight, do you love the Bahamas? Do you stand for the Bahamas or for foreigners? Would you like it to be like Haiti? Because if we don't stop the invasion, it will. This is out of nowhere. The Haitian ambassador is mad at us for deporting his people back home. Does it sound like sense to you? Both governments let them in. So what should we do? Continue voting for them or someone else, knowing that all the leaders are foreigners, even the opposition? What? Texter, I advise you to seek some help. What is this? Oh boy. Okay. The PLP wants him now, I guess Menace is saying. So later Fred could warn us that Menace will lock us down again. Old school roots politics. They are afraid of Pintard because he will be going up against their traveling dinosaur. Man, what's happening today? What's going on? What is this? I don't run on with misinformed individuals. The former clerk of the House also did a written article in The Guardian speaking on it. Menace will never be perfect, but I could respect someone who openly speaks on his mistakes and makes changes. That's what mature people do. Beautiful. That's what they say. What will they do? We've had a lot of examples of people saying what they are and what they're going to do. And when they get in there, they don't do, and they're nothing like what they said they are. And right, you've seen it once or twice, and you want to take... I'm just saying. Let's go back to some calls, and then we're going to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm very upset with that last texter. You know, people get too personal when people call the talk shows and comment. I'm sick of talking. You know, I'm always walking, right? My mind's always walking. What I'm saying is, they get personal. You know, you could respect of someone for admitting to their mistakes, but sometimes people make mistakes knowing that they're making mistakes, because when you respect someone, they have to show you respect. Respect is right. When you respect someone and they don't respect you, we have to understand that he himself said that respect is mutual. When you disrespect the Bahamian people with your arrogance and your power, psychological, whatever you was in at the time of the pandemic, right? So I can't say that they wouldn't lock down again, because I heard Dr. Darwell still anticipating new pandemics. You see, Dwight, I'm so sick of I'm scared for humanity. Most people really don't understand what is planned, okay? I didn't want to get into that, Dwight. I need to have a personal conversation with you to open up your mind to some things. You don't need to say them on the air, Dwight. But here's what I'm upset about. The officer that cut off the ankle bracelet, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, this is on social media from the weekend, but if this is a criminal who had killed 50 people, I'm just hypothesizing here. You would have waited until Wednesday to tell the public that he cut off his ankle bracelet and he's on the run. So they do have an advantage on us. And they can give an account as to the other thing on social media that sends social media never says anything with truth about the funds missing in an alleged, and I mean not an alleged search, a search that happened in Maradona Estates with somebody that I know. But that's what I'm saying. So the police are allowed, they're coming into people's homes, Dwight. I mean, Dwight, if the more people call this talk show and tell you funds and things that missing doing searches, you will be unbelievable. They have the power to hold on things within their internal committee. I mean, within their entity. That's what I'm saying. And so we are walk against. Why can't the Beeman people rally for accountability? I mean, whatever you're all about, just sitting and talking, fighting down one another. You cannot call and speak something that's actually going on. That means you're painting an external reality that is false. If officers are on the road and doing things that are nefarious, why can't it be brought to the surface? This is what is our problem. I'm sick. This place is a dump.
Wow. 52. I'm concerned about you sometimes. Do you take vacations? I mean, I'm the last one who should be asking people those questions, but you might need to get away for a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, it's challenged. Don't let it send you over the edge, though. But wow, okay. We'll take one more call. Yeah, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, to the texter say, I don't wear leaders call a snap election, but I don't wear leaders won. Mia Morley, she called a snap election and she won. She won all the seats. Andrew Willis, he called a snap election in the middle of a pandemic, and he won his seat. He was returned re-elected. You know why? Because how those two leaders treat their people. They hold contempt against their people and things, and they was petty and nasty against their people, man. So and to be honest with you, that's the smallest thing Mills ever did. Anybody used to call a snap election. Because to be honest with you, I couldn't take another 8 months Mills leadership. Couldn't take it, man. That's the best thing he ever do is call an early election, man.
Wow.
And another thing, Dwight, why is still calling the gentleman constable? Remember in the scene for example, I said he should have been fired on the spot. Now he embarrassing the police force by saying constable so-and-so now cut off the ankle braces on the
Former. They said former.
Former constable also he was already fired.
Well.
Because I hear a couple of them say constable so-and-so and I read and they say constable so like he ain't fired yet. Because I tell you, remember when for example, Green Slade never used to play with them. They were playing the court as a civilians.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm reading this. I'm sorry if you didn't want me to read this as we go to the break. This person says here, did they legalize marijuana already? Because it sounds like Menace is smoking something. Wow, that's very, very rough. And this person says here, yes, Menace did do a lot. He gave us Brave Davis. Oh, man, you people, it's very early on a Wednesday morning, and we need to take a break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Still 80s week, folks. We'll be back. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. It's a crucial moment in former President Trump's hush money trial. The jury is about to get the case. The AP's Julie Walker is covering the trial in New York.
Jurors in Donald Trump's New York hush money trial are expected to begin deliberations after receiving instructions from the judge on the law and the factors they may consider as they try to reach a verdict in the first criminal case against a former American president. Today's deliberations will follow a marathon day of closing arguments in which a prosecutor accused Trump of trying to hoodwink voters in the 2016 presidential election by participating in a hush money scheme meant to stifle stories, such as a sexual encounter Stormy Daniels testified to, that he feared would harm his Republican campaign. Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. He's pleaded not guilty and denied all the charges. At criminal court in Manhattan, I'm Julie Walker.
Still lots of power outages in storm-weary Texas, a day after more severe weather flooded streets, uprooted trees, and ripped off roofs. A teenager was killed at a construction site while working on a home that collapsed. David Roth is with the Storm Prediction Center, and he says the area around East Texas has been getting lots of rain, and that is bringing flooding worries.
That seems to be the big concern. I mean, severe weather does kill people, but flash flooding still kills more.
President Macron of France says Western countries should let Ukraine strike military bases inside Russia with the long-range weapons they are providing to Kyiv. Western leaders have mostly stayed away from this because it runs the risk of provoking Russian President Putin, who has repeatedly warned that the West's direct involvement could put the world on a path to nuclear conflict. ConocoPhillips is buying Marathon Oil. It's an all-stock deal valued at about $17 billion. This is AP News. There's word that there are more executions worldwide, up to the highest number since 2015.
A new report by Amnesty International says that it recorded a total of 1,153 executions in 2023, a 30% increase from 2022. Amnesty says the figure does not include thousands of death sentences believed to have been carried out in China, where data is not available due to state secrecy. The group says the spike in recorded executions was primarily driven by Iran, where authorities executed at least 853 people last year, compared to 576 in 2022. Amnesty says China, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, and the U.S. were the 5 countries with the highest number of executions in 2023. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
And I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
It's time for First Good Traffic, brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee auto loan with up to 100% financing. In your real-time traffic this morning, we are seeing heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway, as usual, from Bellet Road straight through the Fire Trail roundabout and up to Tony Williams-Darling Highway. There's some northbound lanes there. Very busy, slow-moving for you. And you're going to see a bit of congestion as you approach the roundabout with Sports Center Road as well, if you continue north. Elsewhere, we've got Glaston Road looking busy as well, just north of Fire Trail, straight through to the roundabout with John F. Kennedy Drive and Bahamar Boulevard. And we've got Blue Hill Road near Carmichael. Carmichael looking busy for you eastbound to Blue Hill Road, and from that area straight through to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Heavy traffic for you there. Independence Drive backed up as well westbound toward that roundabout. Prince Charles Drive near the major intersections, especially as you get closer to Soldier Road. Slow-moving westbound traffic there, and Robinson Road is bumper-to-bumper from Soldier straight through to Old Trail on the way to Marathon and East-West Highway. Soldier Road also busy for you north of that intersection with Robinson and Prince Charles on the way to Bernard Wolfe and Village Roads. Eastern Road, heavy, slow-moving traffic westbound from just east of Fox Hill Road to about Johnson Road this morning. Those are your hot spots right now. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/carloan/all of you for more information. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after the news here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. And now at 8:25, it's time for another check of your weather for today, 8:26 now. Brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. We've got streaming tropical moisture from the Caribbean Sea that's going to continue to produce showers and thunderstorms over the southeast and parts of the central Bahamas. Meanwhile, troughing near the extreme northwestern islands will support shower activity across those islands this morning. We've got a number of advisories, warnings. A heat advisory remains in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas, Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Bimini, with heat indices climbing to the low triple digits for most of the area. UV indices in the northwest and central Bahamas are expected to be very high to extreme as well, and everybody's being advised to remain hydrated, limit outdoor exposure, and wear protective clothing and sunscreen during the peak sunshine hours today. Residents in the southeast Bahamas should be alert for flooding in rainfall events. All right, so for today, for the northwest and central Bahamas, we're looking at partly sunny to occasionally cloudy and hot conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and warm at night with a few isolated showers or thunderstorms. Some of these showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. For the southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy, hot, and humid with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through tonight. Temperatures today getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. In extended outlook, low-level troughing combined with streaming moisture expected to enhance shower activity across the islands over the next few days. High temperatures will continue as well. So for tomorrow, Thursday, partly sunny and hot with isolated afternoon showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the central and southeastern Bahamas, becoming fair and warm at night with a few isolated showers in the southern islands. Friday, mostly sunny and hot with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms in the northwest and central Bahamas, becoming fair and warm at night. Partly cloudy and hot with isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming cloudy and warm with a few scattered showers and thunderstorms at night, especially in the southeastern Bahamas. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all of your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. It's time for another check of your traffic brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee auto loan with up to 100% financing. In your real-time traffic, we've got a number of hot spots. As usual, Mile Butler Highway, heavy traffic well south of Hamster Road this morning. Slow-moving traffic northbound straight through the Fire Trail roundabout. Fire Trail back to in both directions, east and westbound toward that roundabout. And Mile Butler Highway traffic will continue straight through to Tawny Williams-Darling Highway, and that's causing delays on Tawny Williams-Darling Highway as well. Westbound and eastbound on Harold Road to Tawny Williams-Darling Highway, you're going to be seeing that heavy traffic there. And that will continue northbound all the way up to the six-legged roundabout. So busy northbound on Mile Butler Highway, eastbound on John F. Kennedy Drive, southbound on New Providence Highway as well this morning. Over on Gladstone Road, it's looking a little bit better for you if you're heading northbound. Just until you get closer to Bunnings Road, you'll see some slow-moving traffic in front of you. We've got West Bay Street near Saunders Beach. Very slow-moving traffic eastbound towards that roundabout with New Providence Highway. And then as you head into downtown is seeing some congestion as getting closer to the budget. I suspect that's part of the reason there of the budget presentation this morning. And so downtown seeing some heavy traffic on Bay Street this morning. Elsewhere, we've got, as usual, Prince Charles Drive, Robinson Road, heavy westbound traffic for you, especially west of Soldier Road into Robinson, going toward the intersection with East-West Highway, Marathon Road, and Eastern Road, still slow moving for you. Just east of Fox Hill to about Johnson Road. westbound. Those are your hot spots this morning. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Carlo/all of you for more information.
No New Year's Day to celebrate. No chocolate covered candy hearts to give away. No first of spring, no song to sing.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this morning. 80s week music all week long. All the songs we've played so far, with the exception of the Bahamian 80s songs we've played, they've all been from 1984. What an amazing year that was for music, eh? Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be talking with Dr. Gregory Pinto about an amazing new wearable patch to treat premature ejaculation. Yes, that's what we're going to be talking about in just a couple of minutes. And then later in business, part two of our Harborside chats with the Governor General of the Central Bank, speaking with the regulators in the country that is in business. And we're going to have another segment on the paid digital campaign with the Central Bank in business. So a lot to get to this morning. Just want to quickly get to the final few messages we had this morning. Most of these I don't think I'm going to be able to read. Okay, well, there you have it. But anyway, interesting discussion this morning about former Prime Minister Minnis and also about crime in the country, people out on bail, and what continues to happen there. Just want you to quickly note this. Pick up today's National Guardian. Some very interesting stories in here. In the business section, bus drivers want fuel stipend to offset high price of diesel. They are saying that the 25-cent fare increase is not doing much for them, as it's being wiped out with the high cost of diesel right now. And yeah, all right. So read that. That's interesting, and I'm still very disappointed that we're not really advancing this conversation, right? Beyond diesel and buses that run on diesel, and really thinking about the future of public transportation here. Just these Band-Aids that are causing the cost of living for consumers to go up as we continue with old school technology in the country. And you heard in the news, we read in the overnight, but this is insane. This story about the Michelle Reckley case and the urban renewal matter and the file that went missing and just suddenly reappeared on the magistrate's desk. What is this? What's happening here? What's going on in this country? Anyway, we'll leave it there. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be with Dr. Pinto. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
No New Year's Day.
RBC. Are you buying a home, renovating, or exploring mortgage options? With cash back and up to 90% financing, we'll find the perfect mortgage for you. Pre-qualify in just 60 seconds and get connected with a mortgage specialist today. Visit rbc.com/mortgages/all of you. RBC. Conditions apply.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Maybe once in a generation, a country is gifted with leadership capable of changing in a profound and fundamental way the growth and possibilities for a nation. Someone without the negative baggage of legacy leadership. Someone with the vision to see boundless possibilities for a country and for its people. someone with the drive, determination, capacity to inspire a new generation to greatness. Michael Pintard is such a man. With the support that is building for and with him, this is his time. With our support, Pintard, in my view, is unstoppable.
Yes, I working with Pintard, cause he working with me.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
CIBC, ambitions made real.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fix up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
CIBC, ambitions made real.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
Doctors Hospital Specialist Clinic is where trusted and best care meets consistency and dedication. Let our expert specialists take you on a healthcare journey where warmth, compassion, and your well-being come first. From diagnosis to prescription, we are with you every step of the way, ensuring your peace of mind. Visit us today at Centerville Medical Center, Collins Avenue and 6th Terrace, and discover quality, compassionate healthcare at Doctors Hospital Specialist Clinic.
Are you tired of the hustle and bustle of city life, yearning for a relaxing getaway without the headaches of international travel? Well, we've got just the thing for you. Escape to paradise without leaving home with our limited time 2-fly free offer for Bahamas residents. Whether you're craving adventure, seeking to reconnect with your roots, or simply yearning to unwind in secluded shores, the Family Islands has something for everyone. But you better act fast because this incredible 2-fly free offer is only available until June 30th. Don't let this opportunity slip away. So why wait? Book your trip today. Escape the ordinary, discover the extraordinary, and experience the magic of the Family Islands. Visit BahamasResidence.com for more information and start planning your ultimate island getaway today.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product. The only way we could sell the product effective we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
Are you a business owner or HR professional? RF's team of pension specialists are here to empower your employees with market-leading retirement solutions and to make implementing group pensions easy and cost-effective. With RF, starting or switching your company pension plan is a breeze, and there are no setup fees. If you're looking for strong investment performance and low fees, visit rfgroup.com/empower and empower your team to retire comfortably with RF Group Pensions today. That's rfgroup.com/empower.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice. It's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
Hello, my name is Lincoln Deal, National Vice Chairman of the FNM, and today I am proud to endorse Michael Pintard as the leader of the Free National Movement Party. Mr. Pintard is a transformational leader that believes in driving the innovation and change that our country needs. Today, I stand with Mr. Pintard because together we are unstoppable.
Yes, I work with Pintard, cause he working with me. Boy, only working with Pintard, cause he working with me. Man, I working with Pintard, cause he working with me. I working with Pintard, 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 he working with me. Oh, I working with Pintard, cause he working with me. Oh, I working with Pintard, cause he working with me. I working with Pintard, cause he working with me. I working with Pintard, cause he working with me.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic Eckert battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fix up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you on this Wednesday morning. And changing gears, this morning we are talking about your health, men's health specifically, and some amazing innovations that are going to transform a lot of men who are living in silence and suffering. And we're going to hear about an amazing wearable patch to treat premature ejaculation. Yes, you heard that right. Urologist Dr. Gregory Pinto is back with us. Dr. Pinto, always a pleasure. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Of course, Dwight. It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right. So you were telling me off air, this is a hard to believe fact. 1 in 3 men suffer from premature ejaculation?
Some studies will even approximate it to be 39-40% of men.
Wow, let's get you a little bit closer to that mic there.
Lifelong are going to have premature ejaculation. I mean, and most of them will unfortunately live in silence. So it redefines their sexual life, their experience.
Wow.
And many times it causes them to be reticent. It causes them to have low self-esteem. It causes the destruction of many relationships. And it doesn't have to be. There are many ways that we can effectively treat premature ejaculation. And you can go from, I'll be a little bit crass, go from a 1-minute man to a marathon man.
Oh boy, wow. Wait, and so you said lifelong, so it's not just young people, inexperienced men, this is...
Well, there are generally two types of premature ejaculation. That's the primary or lifelong, where from the first experience until the last experience of your lifetime, you're going to have premature ejaculation. And then there are those that may have it intermittently, and that happens with everyone, but then there are those that have acquired. So maybe there was a period of their first 5 years it never happened, then it just starts happening all the time. That's an acquired form, but every kind can be treated.
So this is a physical issue? This is not mental, or that it was just so wonderful that, no?
It's a complex issue.
Okay.
So it's a complex issue, but we can actually, anything in medicine and urology, you always want to treat the root cause, and that also will pertain to erectile dysfunction. There are too many men who are self-medicating or using Google as their own medical doctor. They're borrowing medication from their colleague, from their cousin, from their neighbor, and that can be very dangerous because medication can be harmful to some people and they're not knowing why they have the erectile dysfunction. You always treat the root cause, because the blue pill can probably give you an erection if you start to have erectiles faltering. But if you don't treat the root cause, for example, if you have uncontrolled diabetes, if you have poorly controlled hypertension, if you have very high cholesterol numbers, if you have sleep apnea leading to low testosterone, if you have metabolic syndrome, if you have obesity, there's so many things that can cause, very importantly, cardiovascular disease. Early sign of cardiovascular disease may in fact be erectile dysfunction. So if we can effectively have a man come in when they start to have erectile dysfunction, maybe they're in their early 40s, maybe they're in their late 40s or early 50s, we can possibly prevent them from having a stroke or a heart attack 20, 25 years down the road. So we need to figure out why. If you have cardiovascular disease, if you have obstruction, plaque, atherosclerosis of the blood vessels, obviously common sense would be that the smaller blood vessels will be the first ones that are going to be obstructed. Those smaller blood vessels are the ones that supply the male members. So that could be a manifestation of erectile dysfunction, obstruction of the small blood vessels, which is a sign of early cardiovascular disease. So it could be life-saving, not just in terms of literally. You can actually, it can save you emotionally. It can save your relationship if you stop living in silence. You can always rise again. I keep that in mind. You can always rise again. You can always rise from the ashes like a phoenix to the greatest glory. So never give up hope. Stop living in silence. There's no embarrassment. Every man has an issue with erectile dysfunction at some point. As many as 40% of men, definitely studies will conclusively say at least 1/3 of men live their life in silence, unfortunately, the vast majority of them, with premature ejaculation. There are many ways of defining premature ejaculation, but essentially, it's when a man will climax orgasm before the satisfaction of either himself or his partner. And that can vary. So some men are happy with 30 seconds, and some men are going 30 minutes and they want to go an hour. So it's individualized. But basically, if you're unhappy, a urologist can help you, get you back on track.
Wow. All right. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today seem to be technology, new innovations. But before all of this, what could you do? Was there something that urologists could do to help somebody with PE?
Well, unfortunately, too many men don't even seek help. But for those who would seek help, there are medications that can effectively allow you to get a good erection. Many of them are such as antidepressants, a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor such as Paxil or Prozac can effectively give you a even keel mood and make you less irritable. Your partner will be happy for that, but also can make it more difficult. It's the side effect of we don't think you're depressed, although premature ejaculation can cause element of depression, but it's the side effect of delaying ejaculation that medication can provide that we prescribe it.
Oh, wow.
There are even some medications like tricyclic antidepressants can also do the same. Then we go down old school where you can wear a thicker condom or you can have a numbing gel, but the problem is if you have a numbing gel, that can be transferred to your partner where she won't feel anything, you don't feel anything. And not only that, if you go to your partner or your wife and say all of a sudden, okay, we need to start using a condom, obviously there's going to be a whole lot of questions, and you don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So if you can, there's actually a high-tech device, and this has been available in UK and Europe for a couple of years. It basically is an adhesive, electrical stimulating patch that you apply painlessly to your perineum, which is an area underneath your scrotal sac. And there are two versions of it. One, you actually can lead to stimulation of this patch using a Bluetooth device. So basically, you or your partner can determine the amount of intensity of the stimulation, so you can determine how long you can last. Or your wife can, with just an app on your phone, which is revolutionary. This is
almost creepy. What?
Yes, exactly that. And it works very well. There's another simpler version of the device where there's either a low intensity or a higher intensity that you can choose, and you can just apply to the device without the use of the app. So the science behind it is basically it increases the stimulation. It slows nerve stimulation. It contracts the muscles responsible for ejaculation. Therefore, this delays sexual climax within the parameters set by the user or their partner.
Wow.
So on average, studies have shown you can go another 3.5 to 4 times longer than you would have, which can be considerable. So this is a pioneering technology, and I mean, if it can treat the most common form of erectile dysfunction, and premature ejaculation is by far the most common form of erectile dysfunction. It's revolutionary. It's revolutionary.
Wow. So you're using this now? I mean, you on patients?
Correct.
Yep.
It's available through Urology Care Bahamas.
Okay.
And there are a few other wonderful advances that I also want to discuss. One of them is there's an FDA-approved gel. It's a stimulating gel that I waited about a year to see the response of my own patients. This was actually FDA approved in June 2023. So it's been a year, and I've seen wonderful results. Just because something's FDA approved, I'm not going to prescribe it to my patients. Right. But slowly but surely, those who are willing to try it, they gave me feedback, and they're very, very, very promising results. And long-term studies, obviously, it's very stringent for you to get FDA approval for something, and this is actually approved for erectile dysfunction. So it has to go through many years of stringent human trials, and it has to show positive evidence before FDA approve it. But it's basically, it's a revolutionary gel that it's as harmless as water, essentially. You can apply to the head of your male member or your package, and in less than 10 minutes, you can have a wonderful erection. So the gel the wonderful thing about it doesn't have any actual medicinal active ingredient. The ingenious mechanism of action is that it's a compound that contains water, ethanol, propylene glycol, glycerin, carbomer, potassium hydroxide, and it works by an evaporative effect. So you apply it painlessly, a small little glob of gel to the head, massage it in, and it painlessly, the gel will gently cool the skin, and this evaporates, and this causes a recovering warming effect. So essentially, this leads to a cascade of events where it increases the number of blood vessels and the dilatation of the blood vessels in your male member, which increases the blood supply, and then you're going to develop an instant erection. There's a science behind it. For local warming to the skin, basically it causes an increase in blood flow to the skin. It stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, and in fact, it increases the nitric oxide synthase, which then produces nitric oxide, which is very important in dilatation of all blood vessels. So the more nitric oxide that you have, the better for you to get an erection itself. So once you apply this, you have great results. In fact, they even are marketing it and supply it in a condom. So the gel is actually in the tip of the condom, and many men, including my patients, will say, for the first time in their life, they'll actually say it's more pleasurable and better erections using a condom than without, which is wonderful for men who are having unwanted children, and there are too many men daily getting sexually transmitted disease and HIV and hepatitis. So this is revolutionary in itself. Another thing I want to mention is Muse. It's a painless periurethral suppository. It's like a tiny rice seed that, again, provides an ingredient that dilates the blood vessels. So essentially, you ask the patient to urinate. Their urethra, their pee pipe is moist. There's a painless applicator that allows you to apply gently, and it's not painful at all.
Oh, dear.
Into this tiny little, tinier than a rice seed gel into your urethra.
Cooked rice or hard grated?
It's a small little. I'm talking about rice in terms of not the firmness. It's very, very
Just
soft.
the size.
Just
Okay,
in terms
okay.
of the size. So it's
Oh,
very
my
small.
goodness. All right.
And basically, the suppository dissolves in about 15 to 30 seconds. Again, it leads to dilatation of the blood vessels, and you get an instant erection.
Wow.
So this, for men who, first of all, I'll go back to what I originally said. You always treat the root cause. There are too many men who will say, "Oh, doc, the blue pill worked for me for 5 years. I must have developed a tolerance." No, we never found out what the root cause was, and now the diabetes that you don't know that you have has created such havoc on your internal organs, including your blood vessels and your nerve supply to your male member, that even the blue pill cannot save you. So do not just blindly treat, no matter what way we do it, erectile dysfunction. Let's treat the root cause, or the overwhelming cause will not only cause destruction of your erections and cause irreversible damage, but it can affect your eyes, your kidneys, your heart, etc. It can internally destroy you from inside out. So never have the fear of seeking help. There's no embarrassment. There's the cornerstone of my practice and every other physician's practice is confidentiality.
Right.
It's a safe environment. What I hear stays in that environment. If I see you out and I don't even know you, if you want to hail me, I'll say hi. But that stays with me till death. That's the only way you can have someone confiding in you, is having that confidentiality.
All right, so lots of questions, and you called that last one the size of the rice grain. You call that Muse, is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's called a periurethral suppository, yes.
And you're prescribing this now as well?
I've been doing it for many, many years.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay. And so the patient is supposed to do that, insert that, or do
Or
they?
the partner. And it's not
Okay.
something, and it's very, very straightforward, and it's made to make it very simple and painless. And for a man who may have had a 1 out of 10 erection for 10 years, and then you're getting them to a 9 out of 10, this can be life-changing for them and for their partner. But even in terms of, for example, if we determine you have diabetes, and unfortunately you may have had diabetes for 2 years, and it's affected the blood supply, it's affected the nerve supply, not irreversibly, but it's caused a hindrance and an impairment to you naturally achieving a good erection. You might be able to have a moderate erection that sometimes fails, sometimes it will be reliable. You can get Viagra, Cialis, if you determine that you're not on any other medication that can have an adverse reaction. For example, if you have unstable angina and you're taking a sublingual nitrate, if you take a Viagra, Cialis, the combination of those two medications could be deadly.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep saying you never take somebody else's medication, that particularly those that are prescribed. They're prescribed for a reason. And as a physician, as a urologist, we'll go through the checklist and make sure you're not going to have an adverse reaction. There are many men who unfortunately have side effects to Viagra and Cialis. Headaches, calf pain, nasal congestion. And they're not using it correctly either. They borrow somebody else's Viagra, Cialis, but for Viagra, for example, there's a half-life. It only works for a certain amount of time. It's usually 4 to 5 hours. Usually you want to take it 1 hour before any sexual activity, and it really only works effectively on an empty stomach. So you have to be very strategic. It's not as spontaneous as, for example, Cialis, where it's not as important to take it on an empty stomach, although it might be a little bit more effective if you do. But there are many men who go out and have a big steak meal, wine and dine, have their potato, their big dessert. Then they go and take the Viagra, and they expect it to work. But your stomach is full, and it's not going to dissolve effectively, and you're basically doing yourself a disservice because you're not taking it correctly. Or let's say you have a side effect. Many men might have nasal congestion. They'll take an antihistamine or a Sudafed. And that medication notoriously ruins erections. So basically, you're taking something to get an erection. It causes side effect of nasal congestion. You're taking something preemptively to prevent the nasal congestion, but unknowingly, not knowing that that's actually undoing what the Viagra is doing by ruining the erection. So don't do this on your own. This is not something you have to go through on your own. And many partners come with the wife and the husband will come, or the girlfriend will come with the patient, and we can have a frank discussion. It's not something they need to go through alone, and we can find a solution, and let's make sure that we have you in the healthiest state possible, make sure that you have a normal body mass index, that you're eating healthy, that you don't smoke. Smoking notoriously can cause erectile dysfunction, and let's not put our head in the sand and live in silence of problems that you perceive as being embarrassing. There's nothing embarrassing about this topic.
Yeah. So there are fewer risks or side effects with the topical.
Everything in life. If you take a paracetamol, it's potentially can have some of side effects and very rude, but it's very well tolerated. It's very well tolerated.
All right. We're getting some interesting questions here. How do I put this one? With the gel that you mentioned, if one engages in oral sex, will there be any issues for the lady involved?
The answer is no. So it basically is absorbed very quickly in a matter of 30 seconds, and basically no. The answer is no. This is not something that the manufacturers didn't anticipate. So yes, they would have made something that would not cause any issues in any form of sexual activity. And then I'll talk about another issue that doesn't get enough media attention, and public knowledge is very scarce, and that's low testosterone. That's something that plagues particularly men in this country, where there are a lot of high unacceptable rate of non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, and more importantly, obesity. And they go hand in hand with low testosterone. Once you have low testosterone, your risk of obstructive sleep apnea is exponentially higher, and it's a vicious cycle. If you have sleep apnea, it makes your low testosterone even lower. Low testosterone will make your sleep apnea even worse, and you can't get off that vicious cycle. So you're sleeping maybe even 10 hours, but you're not getting any quality sleep, because there's REM sleep and non-REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, where you're getting that deep sleep where you're dreaming, where the testosterone that you use throughout the day is supposed to be replenished. But as soon as you're not waking up, but you're snoring loudly, and then your partner will hear like you're choking on your breath. You stop snoring, and you're worrying if you stop breathing, when you start breathing again. That is a very disruptive sleep, and you're having hypoxia, lack of oxygen to the brain and other organs, and your testosterone level is falling precipitously every single day. So even giving someone blindly testosterone can be very hazardous, can even be deadly, because we always, again, treat the root cause. If you have sleep apnea and you give someone testosterone, it'll actually firstly make the sleep apnea worse, which will make the problem even worse. There's a high rate of prostate cancer, unfortunately, in this country. As many as 1 in 6 men are going to be at risk of getting prostate cancer, and because we're primarily of African ancestry, we have a greater risk of having a more aggressive form of the disease. If you blindly give someone testosterone and you don't make sure that they don't have early prostate cancer, which doesn't have any symptoms, you may unknowingly you can actually cause that prostate cancer to proliferate and progress rapidly. So that could actually be deadly.
Yeah.
So the first thing before I'll prescribe anybody with testosterone, and many men will come in, I feel run down. I have no sexual drive. I'm putting on 40 pounds, particularly in my midsection. It's like I have a bare belly, and I don't even drink beer. I'm falling asleep watching TV every night. I can't even watch an NBA game. I'm to the point where I'm falling asleep at a stoplight when I'm in my car, which is dangerous to the public, is dangerous to the people in your car, and dangerous to yourself. There are cases where people have actually crashed their car because they fall asleep. They have to drink coffee all the time as a stimulant just to get through the day. And many of those men are middle-aged, and they already have an element of an obstructive prostate, where they already have issues with emptying the bladder. That caffeine, the diuretic effect, is just going to cause them to want to pee even more. So it makes even another problem. You just mushroom the problem. So always figure out, if you do have low testosterone, unfortunately, a large percentage of men do, maybe in terms of, even if you have low testosterone, not everyone is symptomatic for it. So that's another thing. Just
how do you determine it? Is there a test?
Yes, there's a blood test. So you want to find out your free and total testosterone. You want to get early morning levels. It doesn't have to be a fasting test. And then if they are low, We'll repeat the test to confirm they're low, and not only that, we'll do precursors of testosterone, which is called folliculating, stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone to make sure that we can determine do you have primary or secondary low testosterone, which is called hypogonadism. There are even some rare cases where you can have something called a pituitary adenoma, a tumor that can lead to low testosterone. Exceedingly rare, but first you got to obviously rule that out for everybody.
Right. So what are the numbers you should be looking for to determine if, what do you use as a guideline? What's low and what's high?
So that's difficult. It's very individualized. So there's a long range. So normal would be, for example, depending on the units, but let's say it's between 4 and 10.5. But let's say all throughout your 30s and your 40s, you were always a 9 or a 10. Then all of a sudden you're a 5. You're going to have a significant amount of symptoms because of that big drop. But when you look at the levels in isolation, you'll say, okay, they're normal. So even if you're low normal and someone has significant symptoms and we've pinpointed that it's the borderline testosterone that's causing it, you can try and give them some testosterone supplementation once we've determined is it primary or secondary hypogonadism, low testosterone. We've ruled out other potential causes such as sleep apnea.
Yeah, wow. All right, we got a few minutes left and quite a few text messages. You can send your final few text messages in, 422-4796 for Dr. Gregory Pinto. This person says here, I have a problem with ED. I am diabetic. Don't know when I had, when last I had an erection. Can I be helped?
The take-home message is, no matter what, in fact, I've been doing the bionic penis, I've been implant. I've been on this show many times over the years. I even do it for medical tourism, so you can foreigners can come in and enjoy sun, sand, sea, and be born again.
Wow!
And they can do that confidentially.
Say sex, but okay, but that comes along with it, right?
Yeah, and placing a implant where you just press a button and you can have an erection as long as you want and it basically. The device I use, you can actually increase your length and your girth by 25%. So you can have a better erection than you ever had at 80 than you had at 18.
And could the gel or the Muse work for this person as well?
It all depends on the severity.
Okay.
So you have to look at the blood supply, you have to look at the nerve supply, you have to look at many other issues. Patients who might have had pelvic radiation, you want to look at. So everybody's individual. We'll see. You always go first line, second line, third line, fourth line treatment. So the last resort would be the penile implant. We'll try everything else in between.
Okay.
There are even injectables that you can inject. If you have no nerve supply and blood supply, you'll get an erection immediately. There are vacuum devices. Make sure you always get a high quality one. That's the advantages is a one-time purchase. So basically, once you apply the vacuum device, pump it up, it pulls the blood into the male member, and you can have a very good erection for the first time in years for maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's even if you have no nerve supply.
Yeah, my goodness. That's a heartbreaking text just now, though. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, see Dr. Pinto and get some help. This person says here, what about horny goatweed capsules? Can that do anything? Can that help?
So there's always the placebo effect. Some men will say, Conk does it for them. A Guinness does it for them. If they believe, and that gives them that confidence, unless whatever they're taking, I always say don't take over-the-counter erectile dysfunction quote-unquote medication or natural supplements from the gas station. That you take at your own peril because that's not FDA approved. Many of those things are produced very cheaply. They're marketed as natural supplements, so they don't have to go through any human testing. There have even been studies that shown they're made so cheaply. They may have an active ingredient, such as Viagra or Cialis, but they have other things. Some even have paint chips in it. That's how cheaply they're made.
Yeah.
So no, don't treat yourself. Don't borrow medication. Don't get medication from the gas station. Your gas attendant is not your physician. Seek confidential help. Let's make sure that we pick up the reason for your erectile dysfunction and give you a healthy life, a good quality life, good sexual life, and also give you good years on this longevity.
Yeah. This texter says, I was about to ask about weight in 2020, 2021 during the pandemic. I terrorized Dwight Okay, with my guess that obesity and COVID outcomes were linked. Everybody was saying that. Dr. Pinto was saying that. Everybody saw that very early.
There was a very strong link between it, yes.
Yeah, but they said that I didn't believe. Okay, I know everybody was saying that. We saw that very early. The unhealthier you were, the less likely there would be a positive outcome if you had COVID, especially in the first few months. Anyway, the person says weight may turn out to be the answer that we're looking for 90% of our issues, or losing weight.
I agree.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we have exercise, do something that you enjoy doing, do it in groups so that they can encourage you at least 3 times a week. Eat healthy, less red meat, less processed foods.
Yeah.
And we can hopefully reduce our pandemic of non-communicable diseases and cancer.
Absolutely. All right, we've got about a minute left. Let's talk about the names of these products that you talked about today, and can you give us an idea about price?
Eroxin is not very expensive. And
Which one is that?
That's the name of the stimulating gel. Everything is marketed. If it's going to, the cost was going to be astronomical, no one would purchase it. So it's actually manufactured so it can be affordable to individuals to use multiple times a month.
Mm-hmm.
So Muse is the periurethral suppository.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the bionic penile implant, I use the Boston Scientific AMS 700, which is the most advanced bionic penile implant available.
Oh.
And there are many other things that you can use.
And the patch was?
Oh, the different companies that make the patch.
Okay.
There are different companies that make the patch.
Wow. So these are all available, all at your disposal. You just have to talk to your doctor and find out which one is right for you.
I have them available, yes.
And you do. And people want to know how to reach you, where's the best way to reach you, and how they can get more information.
I have a website and a Facebook page, urologycarebahamas.com, and my main office is at Family Medicine Center on Blake Road and Oak Tree Medical Center, which is 5th Terrace in Mount Royal. And the number for Oak Tree is 322-1145 or 6, and the number at Family Medicine Center on Blake Road is 702-9301.
Dr. Gregory Pinto, always a pleasure. I know we'll talk again soon, but thank you for being here this morning and giving a lot of men and women, the women who love them, hope.
Always have hope, always rise again.
Okay, wonderful stuff. Thank you again. We're going to break for news and be back with a whole lot more in business in just a bit. Stay with us.
Story unfolds. We're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure. RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Living with a neurological condition shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. Visit clevelandclinicflorida.org/Caribbean.
Here in the Bahamas, we love our food. From savory conch fritters to refreshing coconut water, our cuisine reflects our vibrant culture and abundant natural resources. But as our population grows and global challenges like climate change loom, ensuring food security is more critical than ever. We at the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources want you to play your part by supporting local farmers and fishers. Together, we can reduce our carbon footprint and promote economic resilience within our communities. Let's honor our traditions, protect our environment, and ensure that the flavors of our Bahamas endure for future generations.
Bahamas, let's work together to lower our food import bill. Food security is in our hands.
Food security is in our hands.
Join us on a day of giving and hope. The Guardian Media Group and Sister Cancer Support Group are teaming up for a special $1 Day Drive. Come down to the Nassau Guardian on May 31st from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Your contributions will make a huge difference. Every dollar counts in the fight against cancer, and together we can help support those in need. Be a part of something bigger. Be the change. Donate $1 and change a life.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, and today we continue with Harborside Chats with the Governor. That's Governor John Roll of the Central Bank. We had part one yesterday where the Governor spoke to the regulators in the country, and part two of that discussion, we continue with that now. Take a listen.
Hello, I am Governor John Roll of the Central Bank of the Bahamas, and welcome to another episode of Harborside Chat. I'm very pleased to have representing the Securities Commission, the Insurance Commission, and the Compliance Commission, the respective heads. Christina Roll is the Executive Director of the Securities Commission. We have Mr. Andrew Strawn, who is the Inspector of the Compliance Commission. We have Ms. Dina Munnings-Gray, the Acting Superintendent of the Insurance Commission. It's a delight to have you all with us. Thank you for being here. So, one general question on this topic of anti-money laundering due diligence, so that we can move on. We know that we can improve upon how the risk-based approach is applied, but to the average industry person or user of services, again, it is seen as a nuisance and as a bother. And to some extent, some might think that we do this only because it's an international obligation and we want to look good by international standards. But how does this system help, if we're talking about resiliency and vibrancy of an economy, how does addressing these kinds of issues promote resiliency and vibrancy in your economy? Is there an economic upside to what we're doing?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. So let's just look on the insurance market. Again, I said when we speak about AML and compliance, it's not considered a sexy word. However, though, when we looked at the last gray listing or blacklisting, if there was not one industry that had a greater appreciation for AML compliance and even ensuring that what we do itself in the Bahamas is almost like foolproof, it was the insurance industry. And simply because, again, when we looked at the blacklisting and we looked at other jurisdictions that the insurance industry actually do business with, i.e., reinsurers are located in Germany. Because of that blacklisting, Germany implemented a law that pretty much said that they cannot do business with any country that appears on the blacklist. With that being said, we cede most of our risk, and when I said we, insurance companies cede most of their risk to reinsurers in Germany, which essentially meant, and if we want to break it down to how does that affect us from a financial stability standpoint and even resilience, when we look at Hurricane Dorian, and we look at the fact that that was estimated about $3 billion, let's say each of those homes had insurance, and they had to then claim to their insurance companies. Their insurance companies had to go to the reinsurers in order to pay that benefit, right? Now, if we were blacklisted and we were not able to get off that list, what essentially would have happened was we would have either been in the position where we wouldn't have been able to have a transaction with Germany and those reinsurers, or even with the reinsurance relationship that we had, we would not have been able to claim the benefit from the disaster or the triggering event that happened. And so when we speak about resilience, and when we speak obviously about, you know, how things in other jurisdictions may affect what is happening locally, the insurance industry had to learn how to be resilient, okay? When we talk about climate risk and we talk about these events that happen, hurricanes and catastrophe risk, we have to be resilient. There's no other choice but to be resilient. And so what I found to be the best method in terms of delivery to our general public, but particularly our insuring public, is through education, through consumer awareness. It's through saying to them, listen, we appreciate, we're all, and when we look at here, I mean, sit amongst us, we all at one point in time touch insurance. You know, we're all insured, we all drive vehicles. And so, I mean, unlike probably other industries, the people that work at the Insurance Commission have a greater appreciation as well, because we know that's the industry that we work in, but we're also insured, we're policyholders as well. And so, again, it is resilience. We had to learn how to be resilient, but we had to find creative ways in how we would do business and ensure that there was no disruption to what was happening in our economy.
Thank you.
So John, I would take your question from a different angle. I think as regulators, all of us are concerned with ensuring the integrity of the markets. And we're not just concerned with that for its own sake, but we're concerned with it so that good businesses can thrive. And so in terms of how all of this AML, CFP impacts the resiliency of our economy, is that we have an interest in seeing good business thrive, and the best way they can do that is by introducing good practices. That's the absolute best way to do that. So it is a good practice to know who your customer is, to know their sources of wealth, to know how they may be spending money from time to time, how they may be interacting. It's good to know that they're not involved in criminal activity and that you're not promoting criminal activity, because all of that, at the end of the day, undermines the economy, right? In terms of PEPs, you know, PEPs is a very, and when I say PEPs, I mean politically exposed person. That's a very thorny subject in the Bahamas, because you only have to go about 2 deep and everyone is connected to a politically exposed person, right? This is a small country. But the reality is that persons who are politically connected are so exposed to corruption, and we're not making any suggestion that politicians are corrupt, but the exposure is there. And so you want to ensure that that level of activity is not taking place within your business and within the jurisdiction.
And so far as the politically exposed persons are concerned, if the financial system does its job the way it should, you become a gatekeeper of sort, and you sort of back up the sort of safeguards and oversight that the public would expect of the business that's being carried out on their behalf. So I think that's important. But I mean, we still acknowledge that in the Bahamian context, we need to tailor. And tailoring is another way of understanding risk-based. You want to tailor it a lot more to what is relevant in the local context.
Yeah, it's applying the risk based on size, nature, and complexity, right, of the organization. I'm not going to take all of my resources and apply it to something that does not require it.
So I'll just add, if you will allow, John, the one point, the financial system and depends on integrity and trust. So that's very important, integrity and trust, because the public, has to be confident. You talked about central bank, deposit insurance. I remember when I worked downtown years ago when the bank failed over there, and I looked out my window and I saw all the people, gathered out front. Yes. So, confidence at all levels, from the DNSBP sector, for the legal sector, for the real estate sector, confidence and integrity for investors to confidently invest and to put their money in financial transactions, there has to be a high level of integrity and trust. And that is really one of the key goals of the Financial Action Task Force, is to protect the system from abuse, by money launderers, terrorist financing and proliferation financing. So providing that framework to prevent the abuse of the system by criminals, that is really central, to what we do. Yeah, and the fact that the financial institutions are on many levels serving as the gatekeepers or the guardians. My personal example was always insistent on going through a financial institution to do a real estate transaction. Why? Because of the due diligence that they would ensure that took place around the title and all of the other issues. Whereas even in cases where you may have said, okay, well, it's a low value transaction, you can pay for it outright. Are you going to be as thorough? So I think that is a good example in terms of some of the cost of doing business being subsumed in terms of the kinds of things that financial services institutions do for their customers. But I want to transition now and talk a little bit about some of the emerging trends and issues. I know we don't have too much time, but Securities Commission has been doing a lot of work, Christine. We know about crowdfunding, the digital assets in a very general sense, as well as the legal framework that's in place. And so now Bahamians are becoming more aware, for example, about cryptocurrencies and crypto assets. And even some of the exchange control liberalization that the central bank has undertaken, we sort of step back and we give people a little bit more free rein to do activities in this space. But what have you seen in terms of activity or involvement in the digital asset space by Bahamians?
So that's a very interesting question because the truth is, John, I say that we don't really have a local market for crypto in the Bahamas. And what I mean by that is that the activity among Bahamians in the digital asset space, that is buying and selling digital asset tokens, is negligible. I know that when the FTX collapse occurred, there was much talk about Bahamians being able to withdraw their money. So I question how many of them were actual Bahamians versus Bahamian IBCs. Because the reality is that the activity among Bahamians in the digital asset space is negligible. And I guess the next question on that would be, well, then why do we need to regulate digital assets if the activity among Bahamians is negligible? And the answer again goes back to the fact that the Bahamas is an international financial center. And as an international financial center, what we are exposed to is the risk of an entity coming into the Bahamas and setting up shop without a regulatory framework in place. And so to address that, we can either go the route of banning it altogether. We could take a wait and see approach, which to me, I usually categorize a sandbox as a wait and see approach, or we can regulate. The reality is, if something goes wrong, the only option of the wait and see and the regulate approach that enables you to take action is the regulate approach. Okay. The wait and see approach don't really give you the tools you need to take necessary action. And so when we decided to develop DARE, we looked at those options. We looked at some of the issues that was facing the Bahamas as a financial center, and the reality is we had a lot of inquiry about people who were interested in coming to the Bahamas to do business in the Bahamas. And so without a regulatory framework, it's difficult to say, okay, you can't do that that type of activity, particularly with digital assets, where the taxonomy is not exactly the same as the taxonomy of the securities industry. And so, I mean, and that may be a little bit complex for the average person in the audience, but it essentially means that if we cannot bring someone into our regulatory perimeter, then we cannot be sure that we can enforce against them if the time comes. So we have to make sure that we have a framework that brings them within our regulatory perimeter. And so that's why. And just to close this point, we talk a lot about FTS, we talk a lot about what happened. If we did not have a framework to address that, then, I mean, the fallout for the Bahamas would have been devastating.
So, is there a focus or emphasis that you would like to see around the investor education side of crypto assets and Bahamians?
Yes, I think there is a lot of what I call speculative activity in the crypto space in particular, and I think Bahamians really need a whole lot of education on the speculative risks, and also I think also we also need a lot of education on the tools and products and that can be enabled on the blockchain itself. Because I think the blockchain itself is a wonderful tool and it can have many great applications, but I see a need for a lot of education in the space and for a lot of Bahamians to perhaps get involved and to be able to build their own applications in that space, as well as education needed in the investment, on the investment side of things.
Thank you. So before we get into closing, I want to talk briefly, Dina, about insurance. And there's a parallel because in the case of banking, the concerns are around, the branch network, accessibility on various levels, the counter versus the ATM, the fees, etc. But now there's a lot of concern about the cost of insurance, particularly given the climate-related element, how hurricanes are more intense and premiums are going up. And so what is the Insurance Commission able to do around the cost of insurance?
So now that's tricky. When we look at our legislation as it speaks now, it says that in the event that any of our licensing intend to increase costs on a product that is currently approved by the Commission, then they would have to seek the Commission's approval and obviously have some actuarial science or study that goes behind it. However, though, the Commission also recognizes that we're in a hard market. And when we speak about hard market, we're also talking about capacity issues. I would have said earlier about, in terms of us being blacklisted and how that looked with our German counterparts from the reinsurance area. But when we look at where we're geographically located, our reinsurers, the same reinsurer that insure the Bahamas, reinsures North America. And because of where we are geographically located and given the amount of hurricanes that have either been predicted or that would have taken place, the reinsurers have taken the point that they were either de-risking or what they did was held us at capacity. And so just drawing an illustration, just say if they decided in the Bahamas that they would cover $1 billion in insurance risk, if we got to $1 billion, then that meant we could not write any more insurance because, again, that was the only capacity that they were offering. So in the insurance space, while we are in a position to look at rates of products that are brought to us and decide from an actuarial standpoint whether or not that rate can be justified, we also appreciate the market that we're in. 2022, 2023, from our insurer standpoint, has been the hardest years in terms of renegotiation treaties and conversations with reinsurers. And so it is either one, do we absorb the cost? And in most cases they have, because they've seen a 30% increase in reinsurance costs. In most cases they have, but in other cases they pass that increase on to the consumers, which is 15 to 20%. Now that is onerous on obviously the insurance public, but we appreciate, again, the hard market that we're in the ability to actually get insurance. And so For us, it's almost either you pay to play or you just find yourself unfortunately in a position where you cannot get insurance, particularly for catastrophe insurance. Now, the cascading effect, and I'm happy that you would have mentioned that, is that the insurance industry, while you have a home and you can get a loan for a home, if we're in a position where we're in a hard market and we have capacity issues, you can purchase a home, but are you able to get the insurance, that catastrophe insurance, to cover the home? And that's where the real question comes to play. What can we do, not just as an industry, but as as a jurisdiction, to ensure that while we may not have the ability to lessen the cost of insurance premium, that we have the ability to look at the financial sector as a whole and see where there may be cascading effects and how we can rectify some of those where we're having our insuring public not able to access certain things.
So Dana, I would just counter by asking him what he's going to do with my case.
So yes, but now that's the hot topic.
We're not going to shy away from it. But I think we recognize that you got to fix, more of the infrastructure. Services are being delivered through to reduce the cost. And like it or not, you got to go more digital in terms of the services delivery. And I know all of the concerns around what is broken in terms of the energy space or the telecom space, but I think you still have to push ahead because you can't wait until one thing is finally fixed before you start on the other, because the world is moving ahead. And you need to understand and be acclimatized to the way of doing business on the platforms. But one last question for you, Dana. What do we do to get Bahamians to take up more hurricane insurance? Once the mortgage is paid off, a lot of people stop getting coverage. Yes, it's costly, but what can we do about it? And the central bank would also like to see more insurance taken up for various economic reasons.
And so the reality is, again, when we look at the insurance industry, apart from the fact that compliance is not sexy, insurance and the purchase of it is not to our general public. They see it as a necessary evil. They see it as something that they just have to pay. So you pay your insurance on your car because you can't get it licensed unless you pay it. But then some people only insure to the point where they can get it licensed, and after that they don't pay it anymore. And that's why we hear the high population of individuals that are driving without insurance. When we speak about the banking sector, we appreciate that we have, when we look at the insurance industry, we realize that we have a low penetration risk. And that could be based on so many things. It could be on perception, opinion and views of insurance from the insurance public. It could be based on the fact that, we have not done enough in terms of educating the public on the importance of insurance. But then again, when we look at persons that had insurance on their homes, and once that mortgage finished, they would stop paying because, again, what they would have saw is either they shared a relationship with their financial institution, which meant that if they did not have the money to pay, the financial institution took on the burden of paying it and just adding it to the monthly payment. And so as far as they're concerned right now, they do not need insurance. We're saying to them that you do. And reason being is, if you looked at anything else, Dorian was a perfect example. While we did not experience it in Nassau, we would have experienced it in our family of islands. And the importance is, in the absence of insurance or even underinsuring your home or whatever it may be, you are not going to be able to get the value for something that you consider to be your most valuable asset. And so we say to them, yes, we know that it's expensive. Yes, we know in some cases it may even be hard to get because of our capacity issues. But we're saying the importance of insurance, we cannot stress enough, because if there is a disaster, unfortunately, you find yourself in a position where you're having to rebuild without any assistance from this insurance policy that would have assisted you. Or if you underinsured, it meant that you would not get the true value of that asset that you hold so near and there. So again, from a regulatory standpoint, what we can do is ensure that we are making sure that our insurance public is aware of the risk related to not being insured, but also saying to them and reiterating the benefits of insurance, particularly when you're talking about your most valuable assets.
Okay. So I've saved the the hardest question for the end. So we have here 4 financial sector regulators, and depending on how you look at the Bahamas and the issues, you could come up with 3 or 4 other entities out there that have some regulatory responsibility for the financial sector. And even in our stakeholder groups, you would find that there are some entities that are doing business where they're interacting with more than one of us at any time. And so there has been a call from time to time that the Bahamas should consolidate the number of regulators, or at least think differently about how they organize and how they focus their efforts. Is there value in establishing a single financial services regulator for the Bahamas, or rethinking the way we do regulation? I want to start with Andrew. You're very kind.
Yeah.
Proliferation financing. Okay. So the Financial Actions Task Force, which sets the standards for combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation financing, they do not issue a recommendation on the supervisory approach. It depends on a variety of factors, and it's left really to the country. The focus is on outcomes and not processes. So whatever supervisory regime is decided upon, there's strengths and weaknesses. There's some weaknesses with if you just have one. For example, that involves conducting risk assessments across a variety of different sectors, and it's some areas like DNFBPs may not receive the attention that they would receive by having like a separate regulator that would understand the risks and characteristics that are specific to DNFBPs. Like you said, you even had to conduct some research to understand about DNFBPs. That's not well understood. So what's important, to achieve, the outcome, that we want, which is, the upcoming mutual evaluation, to have great scores on very high levels of effectiveness, because the focus of the mutual evaluation is really going to be on effectiveness. Don't forget, but I mean, technical compliance, we've already achieved that. So, the focus will be on effectiveness. What's important is the coordination between the different units, the different agencies, Central Bank, Securities Commission, Insurance, Compliance, Legal, FIU, AG's office, that the risk in the country, is well understood, and that's being communicated to the stakeholders and to the general public as well. So the coordination between the different agencies, whether it's through one or through what we have now, it's really important, because what's ultimately important is the understanding of the risk, and that has to be done fully through, with the police also involved, through the cooperation of all the agencies. And I think we've achieved quite a lot from 2015. That was my first experience with the mutual evaluation, and preparation is gearing up at a much higher level than we had. So the cooperation financial action task force, that's one of the critical areas they will look at, is how the different relevant sectors are cooperating. They're not going to come and look at whether you have a unified regulatory regime or if it's split up, because they're focused on outcomes rather than processes. So I think, to answer your question, I think we need to focus on outcomes rather than processes. Any thoughts, Dana?
So, truthfully, I didn't give much thought to it, but I must agree with Andrew regarding focusing on the outcome versus process. When we look at other jurisdictions that may have an FSC type model, we also recognize that they may have a strong insurance market but not a so strong securities market, or they may have a strong banking market, but not a very strong insurance market. I think for the Bahamas, as an international financial center, what we have done great is ensure that we saw the development of respective industries within the financial services sector. So we've seen the development of the financial services sector or industries in the financial services ecosystem, in the sense that we've seen the development of the insurance sector, the banking sector, securities, and the like, even the DNFDP to a greater extent. And I think with that, with the separation of the regulatory agencies, it allows for a specialization and understanding of the risk associated with that particular industry. Not to say that it will differ if there was a super regulator on FSC, but I think what we have done was we've been able to get to a place where we have identified our risks in the respective sectors, and we've been able to ring fence them. And I think the model that we have now has proven fruitful and has proven successful. I'm not that old, but I think I still come from that generation that says if it isn't broken, why fix it? What I can see, though, is through greater collaboration, there can be a unified approach to regulation. It could be the ease of doing business. When we look even at what we require our licensees in terms of having to report to separate regulators, while it may not be an amalgamation of the regulatory framework in terms of bringing one super regulator, it can be the amalgamation of our processes to make the ease of doing business easy and more efficient for our sectors. But I don't see where the system that we have now, where it creates any issue, or it creates, it pretty much puts our licensees in a position where they cannot do business efficiently and effectively.
Any thoughts, Christina?
So I actually probably have quite a bit of thoughts on this topic, because we have had occasion, because we do, I think between the Securities Commission and the Central Bank, we get a lot of feedback from the industry wanting to push in the direction of a super regulator. And so we have had occasion over the years to look at this issue and to really contemplate it in the context of the framework of the Bahamas. And some of the things that we found is that, the Bahamas is not unique in its central bank being both responsible for regulation and monetary policy. So the central bank feeds a lot into monetary policy, and that's an important point to note, because a lot of the jurisdictions that we look at that have a super regulator, just one super regulator, their central bank is probably not fully in control of monetary policy the way our central bank is. And so the super regulated structure is perhaps within that context, and I think more investigation into that needs to be made. There is an example of a regulator that went the route of a super regulator, and then they found out later on that it didn't work, and that's in the UK, where they went the regulator of an FSA, and then they had to split between an FCA and a prudential authority. Personally, I like that model. I like the model where there are two regulators. One is a conduct authority and one is a prudential authority. I think that all of our regulation can fit within those frameworks, And I think that, I understand the points that Dana and Andrew have made about, what the international bodies would look at. But I think that there are other factors involved that have to be considered for the government, for the policymakers. And those factors have to do with the efficiency of resources, whether we're being efficient in our regulation as well. And so I think all of those things need to be looked at. But I certainly think that there is room for the Bahamas to take a very comprehensive approach along two lines as opposed to one.
No, thank you very much. I do think the issue of resources and efficiency of the process will matter much more for a small country like the Bahamas than, say, United Kingdom or the others. And then you have the example of the Cayman Islands. Well, Cayman would not be fully from the monetary policy side, having the need for the central banking policies that we do. But I do think that in the Bahamas' case, industry wants to see more cohesion and less duplication in terms of effort and reporting and the costs around that process. So it is definitely a conversation that we need to continue. I didn't get the impression when I looked at the period from 2000 to present that there was any sort of political differences of views on this. But it's just something that is spoken of from time to time, but never really moved ahead or look. We haven't looked at it very deeply. So this brings this episode of Haverside Chat to a close. And I want to thank you, Christina, Andrew, and Dana for being our guest today. It's been quite an informative and educational discussion.
Thank you too, John. And I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate you and the Central Bank on your 50th anniversary.
And thank you also. We extend greatest appreciation for the opportunity to share this event with you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Congratulations. Yes, and thank you. So in June, we are going to continue our learning series with our flagship event, which is our memorial lecture. And we look forward to inviting members of the public to be a part of that lecture series. And I also want to let our audience know how much we appreciate the partnership with ZNS TV for the broadcast of these Haverside Chats. We also have a partnership with Guardian Radio, so you can also hear these episodes on Guardian Radio. You can also tune into the Central Bank social media pages, and you can see some of our past episodes. If you have any questions or comments on the series, please send us an email to haversidechats@centralbankbahamas.com, and we certainly look forward to seeing you on future episodes. Thank you.
All right, wonderful stuff there. Harborside Chats with Governor John Rowe with Central Bank. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, more from the Central Bank. They have a Pay Digital initiative, a campaign going. We're going to find out about that with the Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union when we get back. Stay with us.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
And we are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you. And the Central Bank has launched a Pay Digital campaign. Here to tell us all about this, we are very pleased to have with us from the Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union. We have Nika Delancey, Aisha DeVoe, Crystal Moss, and Akia Roll. Everybody, welcome. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna have you all back on Friday because we have a lot to talk to you about with many different things. But let's get into this Pay Digital campaign. We know there was some pushback about checks and the central bank's plan to eliminate checks, and that's been put on hold for now. But we do want people to get into digital and less reliance on checks. Let's talk about this campaign and your role in it.
Okay, so public.
Nika, you can start. Yes, get right into that mic.
So, right now, the central bank, they want us to be more using our credit cards, debit cards, and digital wallets more, and also to get our members involved in it. And at Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union, we're halfway there. We do have our website up and running. We have our credit cards and debit cards for all of our members. Our credit cards is actually at 14%. You're not going to get that at any other financial institution. No commercial bank is going to offer you that. For all of our members, it is at 14%. The average for any credit card is 17, but at public workers, 17%. But at Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union, as long as you're a member, it's at 14%. And we also have our debit cards for all of our members. So all of you Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union members out there, come on down to Public Workers Credit Union and get signed up for our debit cards.
That's wonderful stuff. Do you see resistance, though, from people who are, because I'm shocked, even young people who are afraid to use cards, who don't want to do this, they just stick to cash or even checks. What do you see and what do you say to them?
Well, we do have a lot of our older members because credit unions, believe it or not, they were developed by older persons in their 60s, 70s, so they are afraid of the online platform.
Wow.
But we encourage them because once you're signed up, everything is secured, safe and secured. So there's no fear. You don't need to be afraid. It's easier to actually track your funds when you have online banking.
Yeah, let's talk a little more about that. Because cash, you just wonder, hey, I thought I had a 50, where'd that go? And you don't remember that you stopped at that restaurant before, but you can really see every single thing.
You get a text message every time you make a purchase. So that's a good thing. You could even log in. We're going to now have a mobile app where you can log in and check everything. Or you could count your pennies online. Yeah.
Akia, I know you want to say something. Join in. Tell us more about it. What do you say to folks who are a little apprehensive about going digital?
Well, good morning, everyone. In terms of digital, it is a big fear, and everyone is always scared for change. That's basically what it is. But we want to encourage our members, encourage new persons who want to join the credit union, that we got this and we have their backs. All right? So the online platform will be launched very, very soon. It's going to be very, very user-friendly. The company that we are partnered with to provide the online platform, we asked them for the most easiest and the most user-friendly platform possible for our members, because our demographic is predominantly elders, and we want to encourage them to get online, and they can encourage their grandkids to help them with their online banking. You know what I mean? Because that's what happens. Their grandkids help them to get signed up and everything. But you're gonna have to get your debit card first. Have to come in, fill in the application, get your debit card first, and when we're ready to launch our online platform, you could be first in line to come in and get your credentials to log in online, track your funds, and go ahead and get shopping.
Yeah. What have those who have migrated to the platform? How are they finding it? What's the experience? What's the feedback you're getting?
They love it.
Yeah.
Our members love it because you're able. It's the debit card is international, so wherever you are in the world, you can use it.
Yep. So all you just need to do once you travel in with your debit card, we have people being across the pond. If you don't know what across the pond means, that's England, London, Scotland, Switzerland, anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
As long as you give us a notification to put in your travel dates and where you're going to go, your card will work. No issues.
So we got about 30 seconds left. There are always people out there talking about horror stories and what happened to them and how I'm scared of this thing. You hear that all the time. But let's talk about security and why this is safer than if you lost your wallet full of cash.
So, in life, and especially in the financial institution, you're going to have problems, you're going to have issues of fraud. You can't stop fraud. Fraud is prevalent in the world and prevalent in the Bahamas. So, our debit cards are facilitated through Fidelity Bank. Once you have a transaction that is compromised or that you feel was compromised, we have an application that you fill in. We submit that to Fidelity, and we've been having great reviews on fraud recovery. Amen. So you have no need to fear. If you have a transaction that you don't remember, we're going to remind you that you went to McDonald's Sunday and you bought some food on Sunday. All right.
Yeah.
But fraud recovery has been excellent with Fidelity Bank, and in terms of them helping us with our members with any fraudulent activities.
You never hear anybody talk about a positive outcome when they lose the cash. Hardly ever. All right, so this is just a taste of what we're going to talk about on Friday, and you all have a lot of exciting things going on with the Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union as well. So we're going to get into that on Friday. All of you going to come back?
Yes.
Yeah? Looking forward to that discussion, but thank you so much. And if you have questions, get them ready for Friday about going digital and about cooperatives and credit unions. We're going to get into all of that with our guests this morning, Nika Delancey and Akea Roll and Aisha DeVoe and Crystal Moss. I promise you they're going to talk a lot more on Friday, right?
Yes.
Everybody, we already have our list of things we're going to talk about. Very exciting things going on with you. So looking forward to that discussion. Friday in Business, 9 o'clock right here on Morning Blend Business. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Thank you, listeners, for being with us today. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Everybody have a